Hello everybody, my name is Robert Phair and I'm your Community CIP Editor. This is the final report from my year of work in Cardano CIP or Cardano Improvement Proposals process as funded by Catalyst Fund 10 and covering the period from October 2023 through September 2024. The process of CIP submission, review, and editing maintains the quality and relevance of Cardano's body of standards and encourages growth and adoption of Cardano. There have always been 3 or 4 editors working independently at any given time. My own role is focused on presentation quality and community representation, hence the term Community CIP Editor I was given when I began this work back in 2021. For over 2 years, Catalyst Funding has supported the CIP process through the substantial time and labor that I have been able to put into it. I had already been involved in the CIP effort for 2 years before Fund 10 began, so unlike other Catalyst proposals, it wasn't conceived just for this project, but rather continued for another year. I chose the Development and Infrastructure Challenge because of these 2 priorities. Let me just dig them out of here for a second. Technical standards, the first one, is pretty obvious. Creation and improvement of standards, which is what CIPs are on Cardano. The second, less intuitively, is technical documentation and education, since our peer-reviewed standards have also become one of our best sources for emergent standards that aren't documented anywhere else yet. CIP editing, long before this project went live, has always been about responding to postings on the Cardano Foundation's CIPs repository, most often for these pull requests. These are the changes that developers and architects want to make to our body of standards, either creating new standards or updating existing ones. My own greatest commitment has been dealing with routine work from day to day. You can see from this GitHub query, as a KPI if you will, the number and type of requests, sort of like service requests or trouble tickets, that we progressed over these 12 project months, with this continuous availability only made possible by Catalyst funding. That's 169 requests, or 3 or 4 per working week. Funding also supported these 3 improvements to the CIP process, as promised in this Catalyst proposal, and delivered as this project's accepted quarterly milestones. First, I completed an overhaul of the older CIPs in the repository that were written before document formats were standardized for readability, and before we required measures of adoption like the path to active that we see in all CIPs today. Second, I wrote and delivered the CIP Wiki, a long-awaited public description of the CIP process, including the work that editors actually do, with summaries and checklists of how authors and reviewers can produce and refine quality documents. This wiki is also friendly to community members who just want to learn about and follow the process, with a bunch of resources for getting started here. Third, I imposed a system of state tagging, which eliminated a huge backlog of 2 or 3 years of stalled CIPs. This applies tags to each progressing CIP so that authors and editors are always clear what should be happening next to keep these documents moving through the process, or out of it. Well, that's all for the 12 months ending with September 2024. October 2024, thanks to your support in Catalyst Fund 13, began a new period of funding for my work on the CIP effort. Again, let's see if we can dig up the details. So this same level of support and improvement will continue without interruption into the months ahead, with continuation, if possible, through support in Catalyst Fund 14. Thanks, and I look forward to continuing to work with you to help make Cardano the best blockchain for community-driven standards. Cheers.